Hey, welcome back to the A-List, your go-to place for lists regarding all things movies, TV, music, the works. I'm your host, Adam. Let's get right into it. This month, Disney is bestowing upon us another live-action remake, this time of their first ever animated feature film, Snow White. The film, starring Rachel Zegler, comes out on the 21st. So, in honor of that release, we are counting down my top 10 live-action Disney remakes. This is going to be an interesting list because a lot of these do feel very unnecessary and kind of soulless and like a cash grab. But, there are some winners in there. Also, keep in mind, I have yet to see The Sorcerer's Apprentice and Pete's Dragon. I don't know if that makes a difference for anyone watching. But anyway, number 10, we've got Lady and the Tramp. Lady and the Tramp is one of the animated movies in Disney's canon that I'm kind of middling on anyway. When they announced this, I was kind of like, why? But I actually found it kind of adorable. It was very sweet, very cute, very simple. Nothing groundbreaking, but definitely like a movie I could just throw on in the back and not be mad that it's on. I really like Tessa Thompson and Justin Theroux in those voice roles. I think they do a really great job. I don't know that there's a lot to dive into with that one. It's simple, straightforward. It's kind of forgettable, but there are far worse. At number 9, we've got Peter Pan and Wendy. I think Peter Pan and Wendy is solid. David Lowery, the director, brings a lot of his personal flair to the adaptation, and I think there's some fun visual choices being made, and there's some refreshing updates being made while remaining faithful to the source material. I particularly liked the update to Tiger Lily's stuff, and I really liked the update to Tinkerbell and Wendy's dynamic. I also really thought the crocodile was kind of terrifying. Loved that. I did feel like this movie moved way too fast, and also this version of Neverland is kind of bleak. It's kind of bland looking, and never at any point was I like, yeah, I understand why children would flee here and never go back to their families. Like, it doesn't have that whimsical, magical pull that the animated did. The bar is on the floor, but it was nice that they didn't try and just make a shot-for-shot remake of the animated. They tried something. So yeah. Number 8, I have Aladdin. I think Aladdin is fine. When I initially saw it in theaters, I was actually like pleasantly surprised. I think I've definitely cooled on it since, but I appreciated that it made some choices. I loved Naomi Scott in this. I think she's such a star, and I appreciated that Will Smith didn't just try and mimic the genie from the animated. That would have been so silly, right? I appreciate that he just really makes the confident choice to do his own thing, and that's the key to it. He's confident in what he's doing, and that's why it never feels like a sad imitation, I think that was the only way to go with the genie. If we're going to remake it, you have to be confident that you're just going to do something completely different. I liked how a lot of the action sequences were choreographed. I thought some of the musical numbers were lacking a little bit of punch, but Number 7, we've got Maleficent. I'm a sucker for the villain is telling their side of the story of the classic movie that we all know and love. I am a sucker for it. I do think sometimes it is stretched a bit thin, and it is jumping through hoops to try and fit the big overarching story, but overall, like, I have a good time with this one. I really like how it is about, Maleficent getting a big piece of herself stolen from her and reclaiming that. I thought that was a very interesting facet to her character. I liked how kind of dark it was. And of course, Angelina Jolie, terrific in this role. She is quite terrific. Number 7, I have Cruella. This one is definitely one that kind of twists itself in knots trying to create an origin story. However, overall, I found it to be actually entertaining, and that is mainly due to Emma Stone and Emma Thompson. They are magnetic, they are magic in this. I liked that this movie had a bit of style to it. I loved the costuming. It has its own unique visual identity. I thought it was fun. It's a fun time. I feel like I'm ending a lot of these with a very unenthusiastic, it was fun. At number 5, we have Beauty and the Beast. There is like a lot of craft on display, specifically like in the costume and the production design. It looks really good. I didn't mind the look of the enchanted objects. And I know there's a lot of critique for some of the vocal performances in here, but it wasn't distracting for me, at least. I like Dan Stevens and Emma Watson in this. I think they're both doing a really solid job, but the real star of the show in this is Luke Evans as Gaston. He's absolutely terrific in it. He is giving such a star-making performance. It's like Broadway caliber levels of performance and charisma. He's so good in this. It's scary. I liked some of the updates they made to it. It felt like it was speaking to a modern audience without overdoing it or overcompensating. Some of the new songs I don't love, but I think it would have been higher had we not had some of those awkward new songs plugged in, like the Paris of My Childhood songs and like The Plague being tied in. I thought that was a bit too much, but overall, I actually really do like this one. And maybe I was a bit Disney pilled because I was working at the parks when this came out, but I like this one. At number 4, we have Christopher Robin. This isn't like strictly a remake, but I'm counting it because it takes this beloved property and brings it to the live action medium. I think this is really delightful. It made me cry. I think it's very sweet, and it's nice to see like a refreshing take on characters we know and love. I think that's a big thing we're missing from a lot of these remakes. They don't have anything new to say. They're not bringing a new take to it, so I appreciated this. And I liked how, like, yes, there is like this childlike whimsy to it, but it isn't afraid to have like a grown-up conversation about being an adult, about moving forward, about letting go. I think it has really nice themes at play that all audiences can appreciate, that doesn't dumb itself down for the audience. I was delightfully surprised by this. I think what really works in this movie's favor overall is how sincere it is. This is a movie that really wears its heart on its sleeve in a beautiful way. At number 3, I have Cinderella. Honestly, I really enjoy Cinderella. I think it's a really solid adaptation of the Cinderella story. It looks really good. It's solidly directed, and Lily James is lovely in the lead role. Also, Cate Blanchett is having a fun time as the evil stepmother. This one came at like the outset of adapting these beloved Disney properties for the live action medium, but it felt like they were really trying. It didn't feel like they were just doing shot for shot remakes. I really think this is an earnest and solid attempt at making just a good movie. It doesn't do anything super groundbreaking, but because of that cast, because of the beautiful costuming, because of the visuals at play, I think it really works ultimately in the long run. At number 2, I have The Little Mermaid. Maybe I'm a little biased because of my history with the original. If you don't know, it is probably like one of my favorite movies of all time, but I loved this. This was one of those moments where it felt like we were remaking it to update it, and the updates felt very warranted and felt very justified. Specifically, I loved the fleshing out of Eric and Ariel's dynamic. It really just made that relationship feel more earned in the long run. I think it really brought out a lot of the love story that some naysayers of the original Little Mermaid were lacking. Halle Bailey, incredible, a superstar, no notes. I love Jonah Howard King as Eric, and I thought the voiceover performances were really winning. I know a lot of people complained about the visual style of like the animated characters of the Under the Sea stuff, but I thought it looked really solid on the big screen. I had no real complaints. And maybe I've just been inundated with so many of modern blockbusters looking a certain way that I don't mind anymore, but like I truly didn't mind. Oh, also Melissa McCarthy, really solid as Ursula. She took it very seriously and it paid off. She's a bit hit or miss for me, and I wasn't sure when they announced her casting, but she won me over. At number 1, I have The Jungle Book. The Jungle Book is not my favorite Disney animated movie. It's not even in like my top 20, to be perfectly honest, but this really surprised me. I think it's got a lot of visual flair. It's really exciting. I love the ways they expanded it from the original. I love that they didn't just try to make the cartoon, but there's these little winks to the cartoon in there. Also, King Louie, terrifying. I want to know what happened between this and say like The Lion King, because in this I think the VFX really work and don't feel so like devoid of life. And then we've got the live action Lion King, which notably is not on this list, and that just feels so soulless. Like I want to know what happened. Just the fact that it took me, who was so indifferent about the Jungle Book, and made me like a big fan of this, like what an achievement. That's a wrap on this list. Make sure you let me know what your favorite live action Disney remakes are, if you have any at all. I know they're quite controversial nowadays, and I will see you on the next one. Make sure you do all the things you're supposed to do with a YouTube video: like, comment, subscribe, and share. And yeah, we'll talk soon. Bye.